Hey folks, welcome to my weekend update of the DAX, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. I try to keep it as short as possible. I'm on vacation. I did the same already in Germany yesterday, and I won't go through all charts. We're going to have a look at the cycles on the weekly time frames, and going to show you my latest short-term views, and we're also going to have a look at several divergences in the indicators, and later on we also have a look at the seasonal patterns concerning the midterm elections in the US. I can tell you one thing, each index, even the DAX, they have like an individual influence on it. So let's hop into the DAX, and I was showing that bullish Willow Wave wedge here depicted on blue. Yesterday afternoon we were somewhere here, and that thing fired up straight away. Once the US markets opened, we had that positive RSI divergence with it, and I'm quite optimistic that we run to that target line early next week. And gonna show you on the daily here, and this is also based on the cash market. Up here you see the index, and down here you see the VDAX, which is the VIX of the DAX, and we have already that little positive divergence. You see we made a low here, we made a lower low and another lower low, and the VDAX doesn't really get up here anymore. It made a lower highs, and that's what we call the divergence. A positive divergence. Nevertheless, I still miss a spike up into that 40 area in the VDAX to make a proper low in the DAX, and that should happen somewhere in summer, at the end of the summer season. We'll see when we get that volatility spike for that proper low. And wanted to show you one thing. I hope we make a lower low, but we won't get above that high here from early March of this year. So we get that, we maintain that positive divergence in the VDAX, and we make a lower low here at the DAX. And I want to hop into that seasonal pattern now. It's I got that from seasonalcharts.com. It's a research based on the last 60 years concerning the midterm election years in the US and how it influences the DAX. And once you have a look here, we're at late June now, and we are spiking up, and that's actually what's happening right now. And into early July, mid-July, and then there's supposed to be another sell-off into the beginning of August, another rally, and then there should be the final drop into late September, early October. And once we hop back into our cycles, we're gonna look at the daily now, and I got a cycle low here somewhere at around the 12th of August, and that's the low of the 11-week cycle. And since we are on the left-hand transition, which means we topped out already here with that primary cycle, and we couldn't really get through that 14,925. We are on a so-called left-hand transition, and if I'm right, and this half cycle topped out already here, we should get a new low, which means we should undershoot the 12,438. And once we do that, I'm pretty sure we move into that 11,600, 11,700 area as a minimum. And I actually prefer even lower into 11,200, 300 area. And once we're gonna have a look at the weekly, you can see it even better that left-hand transition occurred already before the all-time high. We topped out here below the all-time high, so we made a left-hand transition, and then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks straight down, and this could happen here as well. The cycle here on the weekly suggests that we make a low somewhere in August, the beginning of August, the week of the 8th, and a final low somewhere in October. So that's about the DAX, I believe. And let's hop into the Dow Jones. I'm going to start off with a 1 hour time frame. What you see here in red is a bearish Wilbur wave wedge. Yesterday we activated this wedge straight after opening, and then we run pretty much up the entire session. I tried to short the Dow Jones somewhere here, but my levels didn't work at all, so I got stopped out pretty much later on. And I might try another one somewhere in that area over here. The target line runs at 30,048, and it keeps falling with time. And we going to have a look. The daily time frame you see here, that shoulder head shoulder pattern, we missed out that 100% target by just a little bit, and we also missed to reconfirm that all-time high out of February 2020, but we hit that big 38.2 retracement level, and we pretty much bounced up from there. So that bullish Wilbur wave wedge we see here on the daily, that is a possibility that we run up here first into that 33,315 area before we come down again. And we're going to have a look. So we're going to have a look at this seasonal patterns concerning the 4 years election cycle. You have post-election, the actual election year, and the midterms, where we are right now. And once you have a look at that second quarter, there is a significant low before there's a little rally into July. And then there should be another sell-off into August, another rally, and then there should be that final sell-off into the end of the third quarter, means end of September, beginning of October. And that's for the Dow Jones only. And once we have a look at our cycles, the daily chart here, and that red cycle, which runs pretty well over the last weeks, they turned bearish. Actually, this one turned bearish quite late, this one about halfway through, but this one here, if this was our new cycle, started the 20th of May. This one turned bearish quite early, so we are already in the left-hand transition, and as long as we don't overshoot these highs here in that 33,300 area, there's a good chance that this rally will fail somewhere here. We're probably going to close that gap before we're gonna make a new low into August. And the cycle on the weekly suggests pretty much the same. It suggests a low at a sub-cycle low around the 18th. It's the beginning of the week, July the 18th. And we'll see if this one here was a start of a new primary cycle on the 16th, the 16th week, excuse me. And if we start a new cycle which turns bearish again, we could run actually into a new primary cycle into October. And there's one more seasonal chart I want to show you concerning the smart money. Up here you see the Dow Jones, down here you see the smart money flow index, which is basically just the money flow from the big guys, which usually run the market. And what I like to look at here is so-called divergences. We had a nice negative one once we made an all-time high here in the summer last year, and we made a new all-time in somewhere December, and then another one at the beginning of this year. And have a look at what happened to the smart money. They kept taking their money out of the market, so we had a negative divergence on new all-time highs, and we had like a positive one somewhere here when we made a low at in Feb sometime, and then a higher low on the smart money at the beginning of March. And as you can see, we rallied up. The smart money went up as well, but then we made a new low on the Dow Jones and the index, but the smart money didn't make a new low. And the result of that was that the rally over here. So we had a positive divergence. And I'm looking for the same right now here. We run up here right now. The smart money is building up as well. But what I'm looking for is that we top out here somewhere, and then we make a new low on the Dow Jones, and we make a higher low on the smart money flow index, and that would be actually a nice buy signal concerning the Dow Jones Industrial. We're going to hop over into the S&P 500, and we're going to have a look at the 1 hour time frame. Only on this one you see the same bearish Wolver wave wedge I showed on the Dow Jones, and I have that sell zone here at somewhere between 3,923 and 3,920. And we also had a pop gun in the 4 hour time frame, which went already 3 times of its size up. This one here would be the 4th time. This will be here the 5th. There might be a possibility that we run all the way up here, but then it's very likely that we make a pullback to that buy trigger of that pop gun. So that's around 3,771. And don't forget, it's a bearish pattern, and it could, make new highs the entire week before we actually start selling into the end of the week. And last but not least, we have the Nasdaq. Same time frame, same bearish Wolver wave wedge. That target line runs at 11,442, and we also have the same pop gun here on the 4 hour time frame, which got its pullback at 11,613. And be careful once we go through the 1200-200 area, then I'm pretty sure we will go all the way up to 12,426, 430. If we stay below it, there is another good opportunity for a short. I shorted already the Nasdaq quite a lot yesterday. It didn't really work out as well as I thought, but so I'm a bit too early, I believe. But I'm pretty sure the Nasdaq will stay the weakest of all 3 US indices. So keep an eye on the Nasdaq. The one thing which is actually quite bullish once we have a look at these indicators here, it's a daily chart on the cash. As you can see, we made lower lows through the beginning of mid-May through the entire June, and the VX and the volatility index, and we have the same at the S&P 500, made that positive divergence. We couldn't really pop out over that 40 area, and we just made lower lows on the VXN. And there's also that positive divergence on the RSI and at the momentum as well, so that could actually make that rally last for a little longer as I expected. And I also have a seasonal pattern concerning the midterm elections since 1971, and as you can see, there aren't really any rallies if you compare it to the DAX, S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. We are at the end of June, and as you can see, the Nasdaq should sell the entire time into October concerning the midterms, and that's actually a quite negative outlook for the Nasdaq, and that actually fits quite well into our cycle charts. I was showing that wedge we have here is shown in red, and we haven't really broken out here yet. Have that 50 moving average inside. That might be already it once we get up there, and we could run into another low into July already. And the weekly, gonna move it over here. Oops, wrong button. We are on week 15 of that primary cycle, which is the lowest or the shortest primary cycle we could get. I rather see the Nasdaq run into a low in mid-July, and then we probably get another little rally, and then there's a final sell-off into autumn, into late summer, September, October. And yeah, these cycles, they suggest that actually as well. I got like a low here. It's actually through the entire season of September into October. So yeah, let's see if this is actually happening. And that's it for my weekend update. I hope I help you out with it. Yeah, I try to keep it as short as possible, as I mentioned. If you like that update, give me a like or even follow me on YouTube. I keep you updated on Twitter. And I see you next week. Not as regular as you're used to, but yeah, I'm gonna travel a little bit around, and wish you all the best. Have a great weekend, and I see you later.